everybody. So I just came in from smoking the Timmins street weed, a joint, and it's not bad. I went and picked up a slice of pizza for Ed and I from 2 for 1. So there's, I don't know how well, there's the pizza. And I have my water and I have some napkins. And I decided to do this video because honestly, I'm just really pissed off, and I thought maybe like I would tell it, and maybe, you know, somebody out there is going through something like this, and this is not what to do. But so the video before this one, I had talked about finding out my aunt passed away last year. So this is why I'm pissed off. So yeah, I was put in my maiden name, and I went on Google, and I had recognized genealogy. There was a genealogy site, and I was like, oh, like, I'm gonna click on that, and you know, it was my grandparents' names, you know, their date of birth, their where they came from, their place of death, you know, so everything was there. And then I was going down the list of their kids, and so this is my dad's side of the family, by the way. And I see my aunt's name, and it says that she passed away. And I click on it, and I was like, what the, like, no, this can't be. But I went onto Google and I put in her name, and sure enough, she passed away last September. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't know. I had no idea. And like, I was sad that she had passed away, and I don't know if I'm like, if I'm more sad or more, I don't even know the word, over the loss of my aunt, or the fact that nobody told me. And that right there to me is just like I'll start at the beginning. So and I'll try, I gotta jump through certain parts quicker than others, because I can't make this too long of a movie. But so, okay, we'll start at the beginning. So there's my oldest brother, there's myself, and then I have a younger brother. Now my oldest brother, he was given up for adoption because my parents had him young. So, and like, growing up, honestly, it was, you know, I had both my parents and a younger brother, but it was, you know, I will say this: if you're a parent, don't ever favor one child or the other, because it's the worst thing that you could do. So I had grown up in that type of environment, right? Like, I knew that if I had asked for something or whatever, it was a flat out no. And you catch on quick, so I would always just say to my brother, well, go and ask, you know, mom for whatever. And she would always say yes to it. This pizza's from 2 for 1. If it's like the meat pizza. Okay. Anyways. I wasn't told about the oldest brother being given away until I was 12. And, you know, I was told not to tell my brother, and just stuff like that. But it makes you wonder, like, who's my brother? Anyways, we'll get past that part. So, so I met Ed when I was 15 in high school. I got him pregnant. And, you know, my parents weren't pleased. They wanted me to give up the baby for adoption. And I said, no, I'm not. So, we'll stop there for a second, because for, I would say, my mother, it was a bigger problem to her that growing up, if there was something I did not want to do, or if I, you know, had an opinion on something, I would just say it. And if I didn't like something, I didn't like it, and I would say it, and I wouldn't do it. And my brother, whatever he was told to do, he would do. And like, I hated growing up. I come from Killarney, Ontario, and I hated it. It was, and I always said, I'll never, once I leave here, I'll never come back. And they didn't like that thought, and they would always, you know, just say shit. And I'm going to leave some parts out because they're kind of personal. But anyways, so I got pregnant. And I wasn't giving the baby up for adoption. And I was 15, and I would seriously like to ask them the question if I ever had gotten the chance. But so I had told them, it was like the end of November. I remember I told to my mother 5 minutes before I had to get on the bus. I told her. And so December came, and like, I just was like, whatever happened yesterday just triggered a bunch of shit, you know. And that Christmas, I'm not even joking, I don't know what they were thinking. I'd like to ask them what they were thinking. I was 15. They had bought me a dish set, and, you know, I think maybe there was a toaster and just stuff like that. And to me, I was like, okay, like, I'll store them in my closet. And that's not what happened. Ed had his own place, and my parents drove to Sudbury with me and dropped me off at his apartment with my belongings, you know, my clothes and these dishes, and that was it. And like, you're 15, you're not like, so, I mean, and they hated the fact that I was keeping this baby. So, and because I fought with them so much, like, you know, not saying in those words, but using other words, like, I'm not doing what you're saying, and, you know, and that was that. And like, my brother was still living at home, and like I said, he did whatever. there was no wrong. He could never do any wrong, ever. It didn't matter what it was. He had stole from us. He had stolen weed one time, and like it was like, oh, like we'll just give you back the money that he owes, like my parents. And it was like, okay, but it gotten to the point that so my parents have disowned me. They have disowned me. I have not seen my parents since 2007. I have not spoken to them. They do not speak to my kids. They literally disown me. And I know some of the reasons why. And I think they're stupid, and they the whole time up at, I was always, they never had gotten over that I kept the baby, Michael, our first son. And I was an embarrassment to the family because I didn't make it, big in the world. Like, and I found this later on out by many different people that are family members that the first son they gave up, and then my mother got pregnant, I think like 7 years later. They were hoping for a boy, and I'm not a boy. And that really, I was such a disappointment that I wasn't the boy. Like, I wasn't the son that, kind of like they gave up. I was a girl, and they just weren't happy with that. And growing up, I just knew. I knew all the time, like, it wasn't fair. And if you're a parent out there, don't do this to your kids ever. Like, it is the worst thing that you could do to your child. I am so disowned from the family that I don't know how many years now. Maybe in 2012. Maybe 13, around there. I had found out that my grandmother had told me, and honest to God, my grandmother, like my mom's mom, and all of her siblings, they're not like her at all. And nobody, they don't know why she's the way she is, and so in 2013, I want to say 13, maybe 14, but maybe it was 12, 2000, anyways, regardless of that, hang on, I'm going to check the time on this, okay, we're still good, we're only 14 minutes in. Okay, so, I'm trying to, that's okay. The heck was I? Oh, they had found my brother, the brother that, the son that they had given up, and, this thing is so hard to balance. so they had found him. He lived in Sudbury, which is 45 minutes away from the little village of Killarney. And so my parents, my mother and my father, my brother went to meet the oldest, the child that they gave up, the son. And I wasn't mentioned. It was like I didn't even exist. And I can confirm, like, I found out later on. I talked to my brother on the internet, like Facebook I think it was Facebook for a little bit, and so I know what he looks like and stuff, and yeah, you could tell he's related, like you could tell, but there was no mention of me, and he didn't even know until his girlfriend, which she also comes from the same little village that I'm from, had told him, you have a sister. That stung a bit, because, like, I don't understand how you can do this to your child. I know I'm an adult, but this started when I was 15, and like I said to Ed tonight, like I was making supper and I was thinking, like, I was 15 years old. What parent out there drops their 15-year-old daughter off at her boyfriend's house with all of her stuff and just, it's like, well, there, if you're not gonna, give this baby up, then here, you can go live here. Everything that I know today, either I watched a little bit of like Ed's family, like his dad do, like for cooking wise, and the rest of it I figured out on my own. And it's kind of like when you think back and I couldn't imagine doing that to my children. I couldn't imagine just, here you go, you're not going to listen, you can just go over there, I'll drop off. And they did. That's what honest to God, they did. And and then yeah, we were young parents, and yeah, we were figuring stuff out, and okay, but like, when a parent, in my opinion, is supposed to be there and teaching the basics to their children on just like having a bank account and paying bills, you just kind of stuck me out there and just and you know what, I'm fine with it. Like, it took me a long time. There was a lot, like, there was a lot of shit that I went through, like, and then I was like, you know what, I've come this far, I'm not trying anymore. And they have they had gone to the, they just didn't want, they made sure that even if I wanted to call them, they have changed their number. Like I said, they have there's just nothing. There's no cards. There's no I don't even care. I don't, if you don't want to send me anything, whatever, but that's your grandchildren. And I have grandchildren, and I couldn't imagine, even if I was not getting along with my kids, I still would say, oh, how, like, or my son, like, only our oldest has kids, but you would still ask about them, and you'd still, they just, they just, and all you hear about is, like, how, how embarrassed the family, how embarrassed, this is so embarrassing, Donna. You're just nothing. You'll never amount to nothing. And it was just like, in my head, you know what? Then so be it. If I'm never going to amount to nothing, then so be it. But, and like I said, I've tried. I've sent cards. I have done this after the fact that years ago I was hit by a car, and my mother said to me on the phone, "I wish you would have died from it." And at the time, I was younger, a lot younger than I am now. You cry. You, like, I burst into tears, like, and I remember screaming at her on the phone saying, "What are you talking about?" And she said to me, "I wish I never had you." And to me, you just don't say it. You can be as mad as you want at your kids, and you just don't say that. You don't tell your kids you wish you never had them. And would I change my life? Not for a second. I've learned, you just learn. And from that age, like I said, 15, you learn. You just learn, and like, I'm glad, I'm proud of who I am, because if I wouldn't change for them. This is me, and this is how I am. And like, it even would come down to, like, when our son Michael was maybe about 3, and we went into Killarney for something, and I don't drink. Like, I drink at Christmas time. I'm not I just not. And I remember my dad saying, "Well, this is what we drink." And I said, "Well, I don't like it. I don't drink." And of course, my brother, he drank what they drank, so it was like no big deal, like, and it's like, it's I don't know, when I was disowned, they made sure, honest to God, my dad's side was told to have no contact with me, and they did what he said. And my mother said it to her side, and some listened and the majority didn't. And what really had pissed me off is, like I said, finding out that I had an aunt that, like, she wasn't like an aunt that you only seen, once a year. She was like the aunt that I remember certain things. I remember growing up. I remember she was like one of the aunts that made you laugh and stuff. And I was just, It's just like when you think you've dealt with everything that you could possibly deal with and get over it and realize, you know what, I'm fine. My life is, you know what, I'm fine with my life. I'm not wishing I, did this different, or it's my life and this is what I chose and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I should never smoke that joint before this, but how could you do this to your, how could you do this? It, like, I was fine with everything. I accepted this is what it is, and you know what? I have my own family. I have Ed. I have my kids. This is my family, and if they don't want me in it, fine. You know what? I'm fine. And then this had happened, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you couldn't, not a single person could have told me this. And that there, you just have mixed, feelings about it. Because it's kind of like, how could you, how could you hate somebody that much that, how could you, do that? How, I gotta check the time. Ooh. Okay, I got a couple more minutes. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I know you're, supposed to forgive your parents, but this is honestly like it's just like kind of this thing that they did just kind of seals the deal, and any thoughts that somebody may have, like, oh, maybe one day we'll patch things up, and I don't believe that will ever happen. And it's sad, but also at the same time I could say it's their loss. It's their loss. If you don't want to know me and you know my family and know my kids and know your grandkids and know your great grandchildren, that's not my loss. They chose that. And there was, I'll get to that to another thing, but there was, things in that genealogy thing that I saw, and there's so many secrets, and I don't think I'll ever get the answers. I don't think anything like that. But I just figured I'd tell you some of that stuff, and if there's anybody that's going through this kind of stuff, my message or my thing would be, don't, you know what, I can see how some people are going to take this, but don't be somebody you're not just because it was kind of like this. If you're like this, you know, your parents say, "Oh, well, we'll help you with a loan. We'll co-sign for a house." But if you do not listen to what we say, then you know what? We're not helping you. You know what? And some people are, maybe they want to do that, or maybe they have to do that. But I just, be who you are. And if that's not who you are, that's fine. That's into the and to hang in there, because you know what? You learn a lot in life and you find out who you are really quick. And it's not, you know, don't stop trying, but don't keep trying until, you know, if you're disowned, and don't try to have, you know, try to work past the problems. But if it's just one thing after another, you gotta just kind of accept that. And once you accept it, you know what? It's a little bit rough, but you just keep going on with life. And for the parents out there that think whatever reason it's such a great idea to disown your kids and to actually treat them like you never even had them. Shame on you. Shame on you. I've always thought that growing up you learn from your parents, and you know what? Yeah, you do. Here's my opinion, my thought. Oh, you learn how to cook, you learn how to clean, you learn just all these different things, and you learn, oh, you know what, I've always, you know, whatever. Maybe some things you didn't agree on, but that's fine. And I can say, I could honestly look at my parents and tell them, thank you for showing me not how to be. Because you have shown me the pain that you had, you know, you've shown me how to say all these bad things about your kids. And you know, as like me, I'm a little worry word. I always worry about my kids, always. And they're, you know, in their 20s now. And there was never that kind of thing. And there was never, you know what, don't, as mad as I honest to God, I could never think about disowning my kids. Never, ever, ever. And saying the things that I have heard growing up. And so I could tell them that. And you know what? I can say honestly, after talking about it, like, I'm disowned and feeling fine. I am. You know, it, like I said, what happened yesterday, I think that's, nobody should have to find out on Google that, you know, but somebody had passed away. But you know what? After talking about this, I've gotten it off my chest. You know what? I'm just keep carrying on. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I've always done, is just keep carrying on. And I just want to stick in there before I end this. When they found a lesion on my brain last April, I'm pretty sure it was, and I contacted my aunt to let her know. And it was like not sad for me because I knew that they weren't going to call. I just knew, like, it's just something that you feel, and I wasn't expecting them to call. But it was like, I don't know, they need their heads fucking shook or something, because you don't do this to somebody. And I mean, you can, but if they ever come across this, I'm doing fine. Just fine. So, I just want to get it out there just because I'm pissed off. I was pissed off about it. Now I'm okay. Yeah, you like, hurts at first and you keep going on. Next up thing is, what if I was someone I tried calling my aunt? She wouldn't answer because she passed away and I didn't even know about it. Like, never understand those people. So, I'm gonna finish my pizza. Go and have some, I don't know, well, Ed's downstairs watching TV, so I'll go have some, together time watching TV or whatever. That's everything. So that's it. That's all. Bye.